Hey, peace and blessings to you. My name is Jerry B. I am the EntreMusician, and so are you. Today we have an special, elite, different type of show today because the brother I'm going to interview is not a musician himself. However, he has come up with an innovative program and opportunity for musicians. We're going to get into the thick of it. If you know me more than 5 minutes, you know I don't know a thing about sports, but we are introducing the Music Sports League today. It is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and it's dedicated to the development, promotion, and administration of music performance sports. Now, you're going to ask, what is music sports? And that's why the commissioner and chairman of MSL is here with us today. This is Juan A. Thompson. Brother, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you taking your time out of your schedule and coming to help us out. I believe your organization is in its infancy, if I'm not mistaken, and is really
Yes,
being birthed in the Richmond and Hampton Roads, Virginia area. Is that correct?
right. Yes, sir. That is right. Yes, sir.
Well, with respect to your wonderful website, which I've kind of poured over a little bit, as I said, I don't know much about sports. I understand competition. Other than being an entity that provides music promotion for artists, are there, and having that sports theme, are there any other benefits that you can cite? Can you just set it up for us and just give us the layman's terms for what you're offering?
Most definitely. Most definitely. So, the benefits to being a part of the league as a player, because I always tell artists all the time. I consult pretty much a lot of artists pretty much on a daily basis, and you know as well that the traditional way of promoting your music is not obsolete, but it's getting more and more difficult for artists, up and coming artists, because of the oversaturated market it is. So many artists out here doing music, so many songs being uploaded to Spotify, like 40,000 a day, for example. So it's more and more difficult to promote your music traditionally. Like the internet is oversaturated. What I'm saying? So artists will need new forms of promotion in order to get out here and make a name for themselves. So we provide that, and yes, it is still in its infancy, but it's still a revolutionary, unique, and historic way to promote their music.
Understood. Well, that's very good. And so now, would the artists themselves be like a Jerry B and like not know a thing about sports and
Sure.
be able to get involved? How would they do this?
So so to kind of give a brief description, music performance sports is basically like what you see on American Idol, The Voice, and it's like an NFL infrastructure combined. So it's like music competition on steroids.
Got
You know what I'm saying? Because like the NFL, like the NBA, there's a draft, there's a preseason, there's a regular season, there's a playoffs, and there's a ranking system and all that good stuff.
hmm
And that's what we provide for the artists. So the independent recording artists are the players of our league, and music performance competition is their sport.
I see.
So so that's the way it works. So basically, what, like, for example, right now we're going to be soon. We're currently accepting submissions for the Song versus Song series, which is a four virtual game series in which we're going to draft 8 players to compete over 4 games, in which their songs will compete head to head against each other in a series of games, 4 games, for example. And each game is conducted as a single elimination tournament.
I see. I
The
see.
cool thing about that is that the champion for each game, because each game is, like I said, a tournament. So there's a quarterfinal, semifinal, and final for each game,
hmm
and the winner of each game advances on to the playoffs, which is going to be a physical game, and it's actually going to be live at the Rough House Boxing and Fitness Center in Hampton, Virginia. So they're going to compete against each other live in the boxing ring.
So, what are they doing prior to that? Is that live or is that virtual? What that up
That
going up?
the playoffs is going to be live. The playoffs is live. The virtual games is the 4 games that we're doing. That's going to be virtual, which is going to be on our website.
Gotcha. I understand. Now, you've said on your website that you are in line with major label A&R
Right.
men and women, but do you have any professional athletes that are aligned with this as well?
And it's funny because a lot of people they get it misconstrued that when they hear music sports, the first thing that comes to their mind is they think that athletes are actually being musicians, and it's not that. So that's why I always have to be very specific and say that the independent artists are our players, in which we call them music sports athletes, and music performance competition is their sport. So, for example, stage performance competition, them stepping on stage and competing against each other, that is music
That
performance
is the
sports
sport.
right there.
That's the sports
Right,
within itself. I can.
right, exactly. There you go.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because I get that all the time, man.
Just trying to slice it, trying to slice it and dice it. What is it, and how does it work? So I understand
Right,
it now.
right.
So the A&R personnel, what actual other than being judges, are there any other roles that they play in the life of the artist?
Yes. So we have our own A&R team we have an A&R team which is a little different from the traditional label A&Rs. We have an A&R team that their job is to mainly go, they do recruit. So during the off season, they're going to be out there recruiting for different talent. They'll be at different, talent shows, open mics, things like that, recruiting talent and, potential for the draft for them to compete in the league. But during the season, they play as the liaison between the league and the player. And if the player has any questions, any concerns, anything like that, complaints, things like that, they will reach out to their A&R, and the A&R will reach out to us, the league.
I see.
Um, yeah, but from a major label A&R perspective, we do have major label A&Rs that we do have them involved, which is awesome because the thing is that our goal is we want to become the major labels A&R's A&R, right? Meaning that we'll bring in the talent, they'll compete under our league. Where our goal is to, of course, boost their fan base, make them more, marketable. You know what I'm saying, as far as fan base, revenue, everything like that. And then that way, by the time they're pretty much done with the season, then they're pretty much label ready. Then that's of course up to the artist. If the artist wants to go that route, because some artists may not want to go major, they may just want to stay independent, which is totally fine. But we want to give them that option in the event that they want to do that. You know what I'm saying? So we do have the labels involved, and our goal is to really get them to really get really involved. Because right now we're still on like a trial thing where they're gonna allow some of their A&Rs to see what kind of talent we have so far. And but it's not guaranteed they're gonna sign on and be really a part of it until we showcase that we do have the ability to produce talent on
Oh,
their
that's
level.
that's real cool. Now, please let us know what are the major labels that are being represented by the A&R.
For example, like Def Jam, Atlantic, Rock Nation, and also Young Money.
Wow, that's good. And so, what type of contract do you or agreement do you have to enter in with the A&Rs? I'm sure their time is not free. How does that flow?
Yes, it does cost. It does cost. It's not cheap. It does cost, and a lot of it's coming out of my own personal pocket.
I
But
see.
but you know what? It's what needs to be done to make the dream happen. You know what I'm saying? So that doesn't bother me at all. Of course, we would like to get more donations and more financial support and get monetary sponsors, and that will come over time. And I'm okay with that. But for right now, I've been investing in this for years, and I'm going to continue to invest into it until it gets to where it gets to.
That's excellent. I appreciate your tenacity. I do think it's an innovative concept. Even though I
Thank
don't
you.
know about sports myself, I thought, wow, we have to have a dialogue about what this actually is, because I'm sure there are costs that comes to the performers or the artists that you attract. Is there any payments that they have to pay into, and you're not the only one digging out of your pocket, or how does that happen?
So I want to put this out there, like, I, as the commissioner of the league, my goal is to not ever have to take payments from any artists. We want to pay our artists, our players, to compete in our league. We are a revenue sharing league, which means that for right now, because we're not franchised yet, we have one franchise, which is the Seven Cities franchise. But we are a revenue sharing league, which means that any revenue that we generate from the league, from a league standpoint, what we do is we'll retain a portion of that revenue for our operations and expansion and things of that nature, and the remainder will be equally split out between our players.
I see.
So for right now, yes, we do charge like a competition fee, but you only are charged a competition fee, which means that you don't pay to submit your music for draft consideration. You only pay a competition fee if you get drafted to compete. The reason why it's like that is because doing a submission fee is not fair to me, because if you submit, let's say we charge $25 for a submission fee, but you don't get selected to compete. So you just lost $25. You have nothing to show for it. That's not right. So we charge a competition fee because you will get something in return, which is exposure and opportunity.
Understood. What's the cost of that, may I ask?
So it's a one-time $100 competition fee. For example, for the draft coming up here that we're doing for the Song versus Song series, the 8 players that get drafted. Let me take that back. Not the 8 players, but the 7 players, because the number 1 pick gets their fee waived. So the number 1 pick in the draft gets their fee waived, but the other 7 does have to pay that one-time $100 competition fee. But again, they're getting the level of promotions, man, they're getting over that series is invaluable, because we're promoting them like they're an athlete. We're promoting their matches. We're paying for ads and everything like that to drive traffic to the website, which is giving their songs more exposure, more potential listeners, and more potential opportunities for people to become fans. And then what we're doing is we're tying it to the 757 and 804 markets, so we can drive as much traffic to our site to get more our local community to support our local talent, because a lot of people in the 757 and 804 don't really know we have as much talent as we have out here.
Understood.
We want to show that we have so much, because there's a lot of people out there that don't know anything about independent music, for one, and then 2, they have no clue that we have this much talent out here. And we want to get them to rally around our local artists. That's the difference between us and Atlanta. Places like Atlanta, LA, New York, is that they have this union-like community where their locals, they all support their independent music out there. And that's why they're so beyond us right now. We need to catch up to them. So this is why this is so important, because over those 4 games, the players will compete with 4 different songs. Each game, they got to use a different song to compete with. And then if they make it into the playoffs, they perform 3 more songs. But that's only if you move on to the next round, because if you lose in the semifinals, you're out. But if you move on to the finals in the playoffs, you're performing 2 rounds of songs. So basically, that's 3 songs total overall. If you made it all the way to the championship, you're looking at 7 overall songs you're promoting. That's basically like a mini EP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So our goal is to drive as much traffic, so that way we get people listening to the music, and they're both listening to the matches, and then they'll vote on what song they think should move on. But the bigger picture of that is that everyone that we're driving to the site, that's why the songs do have to be listed on Spotify, because we want them to be a Spotify listed song, because of the way the matches are going to be set up on our website. But every time they click on that song to listen to it, to make their votes, that is giving that player a stream.
Yeah, understood.
You know what I'm saying? And if they're properly, if they properly register their stuff right, that's why on the website there's a lot of education about understanding performance rights organizations, understanding copyright, understanding how Spotify works, all that good stuff, because we want to make sure the players understand that, look, this is just not promotion. This is money that you can potentially make off of this, and then build long-term fans on top of that.
Yes. I understand. You said something earlier about 7 cities. Can you explain that a little bit? What is 7 cities?
So the 7 cities is the Hampton Roads area, essentially. So 7 cities were based, yeah, 7 cities is like Newport News, Hampton, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, all that. So it's called 7 cities collectively. But what we're doing, because we want to, because Richmond is like about an hour away, right? So we want to combine. So what I wanted to do was make the first franchise of the league, which we want to make the Music Sports League or the Independent Artist Competition Series, the actual sports league. We want to make that a 32 franchise league similar to the NFL and NBA. But the first franchise is the 7 cities. So we took 757, which is the Hampton Roads, and we took 804 and we combined them to make them one franchise.
I get it. So, I mean, you're talking to a small town guy. So I wanted to make sure, that I understood exactly what was going on. But one of the things that intrigued me, and you said it just a couple seconds ago, was respect to the education. And so you have something that's
Right.
like a university situation set up. Can you unpack that for us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So MSL University, we're still working on that. So that's why, guys, you need to donate to this nonprofit. We need your funds. We need it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, like I said, I have no problem I donate to the Music Sports League every single month from my personal paychecks. I have no problem with it. But we are developing a MSL University, which is an online version it's an online portal, educational portal, and we want to provide the players of our league the educational resources that they need to that way when they're done with music sports, because they're not going to compete in music sports forever. They're one day they're going to go branch out and do their own thing as an independent artist or as a major artist, either or. And we want to make sure we educate them in the areas of business, that general business from practices, finance, the music industry business, as far as, because there's a lot of artists out here that are doing music that don't really know much about the industry.
Absolutely.
They're so passionate, which is, I get it. You're so passionate about your music that you don't really have time to really get out here and do the education. I get it, but it's so important that you know your basics at least.
That's right.
So we want to make sure they know about publishing, how they're going to get paid, what to look for in a contract, what to look for in a management agreement, things like that. This is to tune them up, to get them ready for that next level, whatever that may be. Because again, like I said, their next level may not be going with the major label. They may want to start their own label, or they may want to, just put out music. So we just want to make sure we prepare them for that next level. We want to make sure they have the proper places in place. Like, for example, we want to make sure we have mental health awareness for them as well. So that way, because like I said, competition is sport, and you say you don't know much about sports, but competing is very stressful. I boxed for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, boxing is a very stressful sport, because you're consistently training, keeping your weight up and down, and trying to make sure you're staying competitive, learning about your opponents. It's a lot of stress that comes with boxing, or any sport for that matter. And we want to make sure we have them mentally on point, so that way they're ready to compete at a high level every time they step on stage.
Oh, that's very cool. Now, since I mean, I was going to ask, since you're not a musician, what was the motivation to have the alignment with music? But you're an athlete, so that answered that question right
Right.
there.
So that was one of it. So I've been in the music industry since 1996. Since my friend took me to a recording studio one time back then, and I fell in love with the atmosphere. And ever since then, I didn't know what I wanted to do in music at that time. I just knew I liked music. So
Gotcha.
I started making beats on what's called MTV Music Generator on the PlayStation, and I was making beats, and I fell in love with that. And it was doing that for a while, but then I found my niche was more on the consulting side, because I found myself doing a lot of research. Like, I was actually fascinated with the business of music.
There you
I
go.
was very fascinated. So I self-taught myself. I had a lot of mentors as well, but majority of it was me just reading and educating myself about music, publishing, everything like that. So I'm practically almost like a lawyer, but just without a degree. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty knowledgeable. But in 2014, actually 2013, I was watching American Idol, and while I was watching American Idol, not thinking nothing more of it, because I had never done a music event in my life. I just thought to myself, wow, this would be pretty cool to see like rappers and singers on the stage competing against each other. And that was nothing more than I didn't think nothing more of it.
Wow.
Like I went to sleep that night, and then I found myself in this dream. I was in this massive arena, and I was just so amazed by the atmosphere. It was so electric. I was more looking around. I was looking around the audience, and the ambiance gave me of a sports event. I was like, this is crazy. I was like, this is dope, right? But in the middle of the stadium, happened to be a stage where it was a rapper and a singer going against each other.
Huh.
And I was bugged out, right? So I mean, the next, then I was, then I caught myself. I was watching those same players that were competing. They were in a press conference, like after a boxing match. You know, I think you do press conferences after boxing matches. I was like, I was just bugged out. I was like, I cannot believe this is what I'm saying. I can't believe what I'm seeing. So I woke up the next morning, told my mom, called my mom, told her about it. My mom was like, I don't think that was a dream. I think that was a vision. And I said, okay. I didn't think nothing more of that, but I just went online and started doing research and found nothing like it. So I just took it upon myself and said, you know what? I need to make this happen. This needs to happen. I don't know how to make it happen because I've never done music event in my life. I've never done anything like that. I just knew that I just had to do it. So I took that burden, put it on my back, and just started working. Took 2 years to really develop the league and learn the infrastructure of sports, because I had to read a lot of information about NFL, NBA, tennis, boxing as well. And then in 2015, I did my very first music sports competition. And I'm telling you, that was the most emotional day of my life.
I'm certain it was. Well, again, your tenacity is there, your passion is there. You were just like right on point. So I'm grateful to meet a brother who really and truly believes in the
Thank
vision
you.
that he has been given. The final question I would ask is, what type of demographics or genres would you include? Is everyone welcome? Is there an age restriction? Is there a genre restriction?
So there's no genre restriction per se. It's like this is still new. So right now, the majority of people that are submitting are mainly rap, R&B, pop. You know what I'm saying? But we're open to all genres. My thing is, if you get drafted, you're in. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I see it. So if you submit your song, the music does have to be radio edited because we don't allow profanity or anything like that. It does have to be radio edited. So that's important. We get a lot of submissions, but they're not radio edits. So we got to reach out to them and say, hey, you got to submit another song. So that's important. But like I said, all genres are allowed to compete. Right now, we're not at the capacity where we can do a band yet. We're just not, we want to get to that point, but right now it's just solo artists. So I tell bands or groups, I say, hey, if you have an artist in your group or band that you may want to represent your group or band in the league, you can do that. But we just can't have a band on stage quite yet. We're trying to get to that point, but right now, man, that's how it works, man. All genres are welcome. We want this to be an overall league where all genres can compete head to head to determine who are the best independent artists in the country and eventually the world, ultimately the Olympic Games.
What about ages? Are we
So the age
a
group for right
senior
now for the
citizen,
senior
sir?
league, huh?
Senior league. Okay. I was like,
The senior league, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we do. So we have the senior league is from 18 to 34 years old.
gotcha.
That's the age range.
Uh-huh.
For the junior division, which we're working on that right now, the junior division will be 11 to 17 years old.
Gotcha. So nothing for 60-year-olds.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. We got some
60,
submissions
60
right now
years
that are
old
like
is we
40.
out. We out, right?
We made some exceptions. We've made some exceptions so far. If the music, hey, if the music's on point, hey, we're like, hey, but definitely, man, we've gotten some submissions so far from artists that are 40 years old, but their music is so good you really can't turn them down. You're like, man,
Sure.
that's some quality stuff. Some quality stuff. We really can't turn it down. We're it's still developing, man. You know what I'm saying? So
Right, right.
we may break off on that one day. I don't know.
That's absolutely excellent. Well, again, I do appreciate the time that you've taken to help explain what it is. And if you go to musicisoursport.com, you can learn much more about Juan Thompson, his vision, and, just a lot of information. That's what I was really impressed with. But I have to ask, is there a question you thought maybe I would ask you? You get asked it all the time, but I didn't ask that question. Could you answer the unasked question?
The question I get all the time in emails, like almost daily, is that is music sports an athlete competing in music?
I see.
And I get that question all the time, and I always break it down to them. And it's like, hey, well, it's actually the artists are the athletes of our. We call them music sports athletes.
Gotcha.
So they're the players of our league. Music competition is the sport. So you'll see one day, you will see music sports athletes in commercials, getting endorsement deals. You'll be seeing them the same perks as traditional star athletes get today. You're going to see music sports athletes getting those same perks. Trust me.
That's absolutely excellent. Well, thank you so much, Brother Juan, man. And also, I can't remember the last time that I've had a bald brown brother join me, on the EntreMusician. So thank you for the balance, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you. And we will be in touch. And look for Juan Thompson again on musicisoursport.com. I think that this is a very innovative way for artists to do music promotion. I had my doubts at the beginning. I'm going to just be obvious and confess, but thank you to the brother for breaking it down for us. I want you to go to musicisoursport.com. I also want you to go to the EntreMusician.com, where you'll find resources and educational material and other tools which will help you in your career. That's why we exist. Okay, my name is Jerry B. I am the EntreMusician, but you know what? So are you. We will definitely see you next time. God bless.